live on. I'm gonna go live on my vlog today. I'm doing a live stream, and my son is here with me. So this is an unplanned live stream. I'm just testing out my LED light to see if I can get some decent quality video with the iPad being used. And my son is going to be my copycat today. He's copying every word I say. Be prepared for a lot of interactivity with my son possibly jumping in on the video. But yeah, this is my live stream using the iPad and my LED light to try to, make the video look half decent because I don't really like using the DSLR style camera that I have to do live streams. He's super happy. You wanna go in the video? He's just jumping up and down. But no, I'm doing this video to see if this will work. If the video looks halfway decent to you guys, using my new LED light, then maybe I'll start making my live streams like this because, using the DSLR camera is just such a pain to set that thing up. And, I'm still super busy with different projects, so it's really hard for me to do anything with my vlog. Like, it's been a while since I've probably been on here. I'm wondering if I can see chats from anybody. I don't see anything popping up on my screen, but maybe it's possible to do live chats from the iPad. Again, I'm new to this with live streaming still, so I'm not an expert on how this works. Let me see if I can see any chats that come through. But yeah, it doesn't say if I can do that, but whatever the case, if you guys are around right now and you can chat with me, that would be cool for me to see the messages pop up on screen. And my son is over here playing on his guitar, so that's the music that you hear going on in the background if you wondering what all that sound is. But yeah, this was an unplanned stream. I'm not really even sure 100% what's all going to be talked about in this live stream. Give me 1 minute. You can't go over there though, son, because the LED light's there, okay? I don't want you to knock that over. No, you cannot go to the cell phone. I guess he wants to go to my cell phone. He knows he's not supposed to play with that because it's not one of his toys. You want to what? Wear what? I don't know what he wants to wear. He wants to wear something, but you cannot wear a cell phone, son. You can only talk on a cell phone, but you cannot play with it because it's not one of your toys. You have a lot of toys in your box over there you can play with, so you can't play with the cell phone.
I can play with the guitar.
Yeah, that's your guitar. I bought you that, so you can play with that. That's fine. Yeah, I ended up buying him a guitar because unfortunately I stepped on his guitar in the middle of the night when I was coming downstairs. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. When I was getting ready to go to sleep, coming from downstairs, I turned off all the lights, and his guitar happened to be, in the middle of the floor. If you have kids, you know what I mean. They had they toys all over the floor. And you try to have them clean them up, and they might leave one out, and you step on it. Usually, you just step on it and get hurt, but in this case, it was something that was breakable, and I stepped on it. And I ended up buying him a new guitar because I felt bad that I broke his toy, and I know that's one of his favorite toys that he likes to play with. But you know what? I got a subject for you guys that I think is important to talk about, and hopefully you can hear me halfway decent considering my son's playing with his guitar in the background. Is when you come to the Philippines, it's this. Like in America, or if you're from a country that, is, pretty well established. In America, in a country similar to that are well established, pretty much any place that you go to, they have hot water. And I've been meaning to make this video for a long time, but I never got to it. And I have a long list of videos I was supposed to make. I had planned it all out, but I never made it because I really didn't have time, and I didn't want to go through the frustration of setting up my camera to film all this stuff. But nonetheless, hot water in the Philippines is not necessarily something that you're gonna have. Give me 1 moment. What is it, son? Now he telling me I stepped on his guitar. Yes, I stepped on your old guitar, not your new one. And what's up, cuz? I saw your message on the chat there. So what's up to you too, man? My son just telling me that I stepped on his guitar, but that's his old guitar, not the new one. He's over here making some weird music here, but that's the type of toy he likes, so that's why I ended up getting it for him. But no, in regards to the hot water, if I can finish the conversation here without my son interrupting me, hot water is not available everywhere here in the Philippines. It's not that you can't access it; it's just that it's not necessarily pre-built into the facility that you're going to. So, for example, if you're renting out a house, you want to check the details before you get here to make sure that that place has hot water. If that's the type of lifestyle that you want to live and you want to have that same comfort when you come here, you need to check that. Whereas in the U.S., it's pretty much already a given wherever you're renting, whether it's a house, a hotel, condominium, it doesn't matter. Most places in the U.S. have hot water, whereas here, that's not always the case. It's not to say that a lot of places don't have hot water, because a lot of places do. But for those who aren't familiar with the Philippines, you wouldn't maybe know to look for that. So when I got here, I happened to have a place that did have hot water, but I've also had the experience of dealing with cold showers, and those are not fun. That cold, ice cold water hits you, man. It's something rough to deal with. So if you're not ready for that, especially if you're bringing kids with you, and you don't want to bring them through that kind of pain of having a cold shower, then you might want to consider getting a nice place to have some hot water. Not to say the places that don't have hot water aren't nice. We are in a tropical country, so because it's very hot here, hot water is not really essential. And some days I don't even want a warm shower because it's just so hot. So even for me, there are days where, you know, I won't even take a warm bath because it's just too hot. I want something cold that's gonna cool me off. But then there's other days where it's not quite as hot, and it can be kind of intense to take a cold shower. But anyway, those are one of the things that you want to probably think about when you come to the Philippines, or if you're planning to visit to the Philippines. My son wants to say something, so I'm gonna let him talk. What are you trying to say? Wait, go ahead. Don't be shy now. You shy now? See, he always does this. He want to talk until I put him on the video. Then he get quiet. He don't want to say nothing then because I don't know. Maybe he's shy of the video. Oh, okay. Say what you gonna say, son. You want to what? You want to what? See, he just saying whatever I'm saying now. He not saying nothing. He know how to talk. He knows how to communicate very well. But when he put him on, he pretending like he want to talk until you get that video on him. Then he get real quiet when the video get on his face because he don't want to talk. I think he camera scared. As soon as that camera get on, he get quiet real quick. But yeah, he do look like me, cause I ain't gonna lie, he do. But he look like his mom too, you know. So it's not like he only look like me. He look like his mom as well. But yeah, that I guess that's kind of my subject for this video. Is just telling you that to be prepared for that. I want you to have a good experience when you come here. So make sure you look out for that. But it's just little small things like that could make your experience here not so great if you come here and you don't get the specific amenities that you're looking for. That's something to consider. But there's some other subjects that I'm going to definitely bring to my channel beyond just talking about hot water. I want to talk about haircuts. I know I need one right now because my hair is looking real rough, but that's okay. Probably going to talk about haircuts at some point in time. We're probably going to talk about soap. Matter of fact, we probably can talk about that now. I mean, this live stream's only been going for about 9 minutes from what I can see. So let's talk about soap. And I'm going to have to talk about this specifically related to people who are considered people of color. That would include people like African Americans, and I don't really have to name all the list of people or groups, but you know what I'm saying. So black people in general. If you're coming to the Philippines, one of the big issues you may have to deal with is a lack of regular soap. Now, when I say regular soap, I mean soaps that are not whitening. Unfortunately, and if you can hear me, because my son's making more noise on his guitar, I apologize. If you can't hear me, I have to redo this live stream and cover this last part where he got a little bit too loud with his guitar. But unfortunately, in the Philippines, most of the soaps you buy in the store are whitening soaps. Now, I know a while back I did a video where I talked about shea butter soap, and that was available for a very long time. but eventually they stopped carrying it at the store that I was buying it from. So I can no longer get shea butter soap. You know, not from that store, and from pretty much anywhere that I've looked, I haven't been able to find it. And you know, it's kind of sad, unfortunately, that that's the case because Filipinos are not, you know, I don't know what to say about that, but Filipinos in general, you know, they are. Well, I guess it's I'm gonna say it like this. And it's kind of hard to think because my son playing that guitar in the background, so I'm trying to get my thoughts collected, but he just strumming too loud. But in general, you know, Filipinos are, well, in my understanding of people of color, you know, from my observation and also from their own mouth from some of the people. You know, I've met some people that, you know, I talk to them, they're like, oh, he's just like us. He's a black person. You know, and I was shocked when they said that to me because I wasn't expecting it, but it was my observation anyway. But to have them come up to me and say, oh, he black just like us, they recognize that we both people of color. You know, we may not both be African, but we still people of colors. And when you look into the history of Filipinos, the Aboriginals, their ancestors, they look just like me, you know, and other Africans. And sometimes when I see Filipinos, they look like African people. So we definitely have a similar skin tone in a lot of cases. So in regards to the soaps, son, see this is what I'm talking about. He putting the guitar on my shoulder. This is why I can't think. He plays strumming it super loud. This, like I said, this is an unplanned live stream, so don't expect special production here. It ain't gonna be amazing. But yeah, in general, the problem with the Philippines is unfortunately a lot of the soaps are whitening soaps, and you really can't, you know, find a regular soap these days no more. It wasn't like this when I first arrived here. I mean, I'm not saying it was great. A lot of the soaps were still whitening soaps. But me as an African American, I respect the way that God made me, and I think that He made my skin beautiful, and I shouldn't alter it. And there's certain bad things that come with messing with your skin if you recognize it's an organ. And give me one more minute, another interruption. What is it, son? You take over. What you want to say? What's black? I know it's black. The color of the guitar is black. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say? Okay, you don't want to say nothing else then. No, you don't. You don't want to say nothing. You just telling me what you already told me. I know that's black. I know it's black. Okay, anything else you want to tell me? Before I start talking to you, is there anything else you want to tell me? You don't want to tell me nothing else. You just want to stop me from talking. But anyway, I'm gonna try to get again. This gonna end up being like a 40-minute video, an hour-long video, because my son keep trying to talk over me. But anyway, if you're a person of color, you come here, you gonna run on some difficult times trying to find you some regular soap. In fact, it's so bad that I actually have to go to an organic store just to get, you know, a regular type of soap. And that soap is not cheap. It's very expensive compared to that shea butter, like a lot more expensive. You know, so I have to go there to buy my soap. And that's something that you want to think about. If you're a person of color, you come here and you want to find a regular soap that isn't going to alter your skin tone, then you better make sure you got some money ready to pay big time for the organic soap because it's not cheap. But I refuse to alter my skin, not only just because I respect the way that God made me, but also because, you know, there's certain dangers that come with altering your skin. If you understand that your skin is how you absorb vitamin D, and vitamin D has some correlation with how your immune system performs, then you understand that it's a very dangerous thing to play around with changing your skin tone because it can affect the way that your immune system will function. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, if you don't know anything about how your skin, you know, impacts your ability to absorb vitamin D and how that correlates to your immune system, do some research on that and get familiar with it so you'll understand. But in a short statement, be very careful with the whitening soaps. Now, I actually read online a little bit about, you know, the whitening stuff that's going on here in the Philippines, and from what I can understand, it has to deal with them being colonized and, you know, that type of thing. Now, I'm not saying that I know 100% for sure, but from what I read, that's what it appears to be, and it kind of makes sense. You know, I don't know any person that would naturally be born to hate their skin. and say, man, I don't like the way my skin look. I'm gonna change that. Society teaches you to want to change that. It's not something they're born with. And I don't know any original people from any group that will wake up and say, I want to be like this other group of people because I hate the way I look. That's not natural. It goes against the very nature of being human. You know, a mother doesn't naturally start hating the way they look and then the way that their babies look, their children look. That's not natural. So you got to start asking the question, who taught you? Because it's taught. Because no child is born hating themselves the way that they look. They taught that. So for me, I'm not teaching my son to use whitening soaps, none of that. So if you ever see my son using that, any of my children, no, I didn't teach that in my household because I don't play that. You know, I believe that you're born a certain way, you stay that way. You don't try to alter your skin, especially with the dangers that come along with it. But let's go ahead and switch gears. You know, we talked a little bit about the soaps. You know that you need to go to an organic place if you want to get soap for yourself, and make sure you're not messing up your skin because that's pretty important. You come here, you know, and I know there's some brothers that came here to the Philippines and some sisters too that have come to the Philippines, and you know they may not know. Hey man, when you get to that store, you ain't gonna find no soap. You don't know what to find, and you know you new here, so you don't know where to go. So you need to know that. If you ever have a question about where to get soap from, just let me know, and I'll let you know. I know these things are so simple, such simple matters, but they have a deep impact on your life. And so I figured I need to deliver this information to you. Another thing that you need to consider, especially if you're going to be here for a long period of time, is, um, you know, haircuts. You know, I kind of tried to talk about it, but I got distracted a little bit. You know, unfortunately, when I took my son to get his haircut, you know, I opened up the book and I'm looking through this book and I'm flipping through the pages and I'm like, surely there is at least one haircut style with a Filipino in the book. And I'm flipping through all the pages. Every last one, I'm flipping through them. And not one of those pictures, not even one, showed a, a Filipino face. Because I was thinking in my mind, well, when I go to this place to get my son his haircut, I know they don't have African American haircuts in there because I'm not in Africa. I'm not in America. So they're not going to have any type of haircuts that's related to Africans. And so, you know, I'm looking through the book and they don't have no Filipinos. So then the question marks is going in my head, why they don't got no Filipinos in the book? You know, I'm in a country that's predominantly Filipino and there's no Filipinos in there. There were only pictures, unfortunately, of white people only. No disrespect to white people, but it just really showed me that I really feel like the Philippines is still in a colonized mindset. You know, not just from that. There's a lot of things I've seen that I haven't talked about yet on my vlog that make me feel like they're still in a colonization mindset. But that was just one example. You know, but looking through that book disturbed me a little bit. But that was just the first, you know, small smidgen of things that I've seen here. But I I went ahead and got him his haircut. The guy did a halfway decent job, but it was just sad that at the very least you didn't have at least one representation of a Filipino. Now in America, we know that you know we not the majority, so it's different. You know, in terms of the percentage of population, at least based on the consensus. When you look at the data that they record of the population, we not the majority, but here in the Philippines, the Filipinos are the majority, so there should be at least one picture of a Filipino in the book of people getting their haircuts. But yet there was not even one. And to me, that showed to me that a lack of love for yourself. And that's just one example for me. Now let's take it deeper because some people may not believe me. You like, well, that's just in that one place to get your haircut. When you look at all the advertisements, okay, when you're driving on the roads, and I've been a lot of places. I go through cabs. They take me all around the city, going to different places, and all the billboards do not really represent Filipinos. Most of the billboard ads that you see is of Filipinos who look like white people because they've been putting too much whitening cream on. Oh, what's up? Hey, what's up, Jawbreaker? I see Jawbreaker joined in on this live stream. Hey, Jawbreaker, if you're still there, man, did you notice when you came to the Philippines that most of the soaps are whitening soaps? I mean, I don't know if you noticed that. I know you wasn't here that long, but if you did, definitely leave a comment and tell people about how it is. Because you done been here, I met you in the lawn. See, he know exactly what I'm talking about. He just said yes. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know that you cannot find a regular bar. So, and my son is in the background, y'all break yourself. You hear him talking, that's him over there talking. Um, so my words might get slipped up a little bit when I'm trying to talk, but oh, you coming back in 2 weeks? That's awesome, man. I'm happy to know you coming back, man, and you know, I look forward to seeing you in the mall again if I see you when I'm passing by. He's over there playing his guitar too, so if you hear some music, that's that's gonna be my intro music maybe on one of my live streams, cause he over here playing his music. But he probably gonna be good at guitar. He loves guitars. My father-in-law plays the guitar a little bit, so I think he's picking that up from them, and that's really his instrument. Not my instrument personally. My instrument is the piano. I just picked that up like my last year of high school when I was in high school. That's a long time ago. But that was kind of my instrument that I enjoyed playing. Oh yeah, he definitely talked a lot. He definitely talked a lot. So you gonna be hearing him talk. But when I put him on camera, he get real quiet. That's the issue. He ready to talk until I put that live stream on him. Then he get real quiet soon. But I miss making these live streams. I know I haven't really did many. I did like maybe one or two, and I really feel like this is gonna probably be the new way that I do my videos, do live streams. And if you guys have questions, I'll try to answer them. I'm not sure how to reply yet, but it looks like there's some kind of message icon thing here. Oh, okay, I can see it now. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I can reply though, or I don't know how to do it. But I can see your messages at least, so maybe I can just tell you in real time if you have any questions. If there's something you want to know, definitely let me know on the live streams. I'm not sure what times I'm gonna do the live streams, but when I can, I will do them and try to answer questions for people that have never been here to the Philippines. And for those who may be revisiting, if you got some questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to help you. But yeah, man, Jawbreaker's gonna be coming back. I always laugh at your name, man. It's like you're a fighter, a boxer, or something. Jawbreaker. What? Oh, the Philippines is your favorite place? Your favorite place to Oh, you mean or Jawbreaker a place that you go to that you visited to that's a business? I don't know if that's what he's referring to. Keep in mind I'm live streaming, so the chats may be a little bit slow to come through. I don't know if you're replying to me saying that by your name. PL. You have to forgive me. I'm not up on the acronyms and the syntax of slang. The chats, I don't know what PL means, so you have to explain that to me. Oh, Davao. Oh, Davao is your favorite place. Okay. Yeah, Davao is a great place. It's definitely a great. I'm gonna let my son talk. What? Say it again. Say it again. What'd you say? What? Go ahead. Say it. It's okay. He said Davao is a great place. It's copying me. Yeah, Davao is great. I mean, Davao is really a good balance of city. It's quiet sometimes. It's not really like it's not too crazy. It's just a real good balanced city. Has a nice amount of restaurants. You know, traffic isn't too crazy. Like if you go to Manila, the traffic is, man, it's kind of rough. Yeah, the food is definitely great, definitely great. Maybe I'll do like a video where or maybe I'll start doing live streams when I order food and just talk about like the places that I'm ordering food because I can do that from home. I really don't have a lot of time to go out now like I used to. Well, it's a little bit different too because I have a son. Yeah, Rojas. Rojas is a great place to go. Rojas is a night market that, and I'm just explaining to my viewers that may see this video later. Rojas is a night market where they serve different street food, and it's good. The prices are very cheap. I mean, very cheap. You're not gonna pay a whole lot. So if you want to come here and like eat for super cheap and get a taste of the street food, you can definitely do that at Rojas. And in general, the street food in the Philippines is not very expensive. Unless you go into some high end restaurants. Now, I'm not gonna say that every place in the Philippines is cheap because there's definitely some places where you're gonna pay American level prices for the food. So don't think that you're gonna come to the Philippines and eat at any restaurant you want to without paying a special price, because there are places where they're gonna charge you a lot of money, but the food is really good. And I can tell you from experience that it's definitely worth the cost. And maybe I'll I'm working on getting a food plan with one of the companies here. I'm not gonna mention that company because I don't know if they want me to mention them in the live stream. But one of the companies here that's a well-known company, really good food. I'm probably gonna be doing some stuff with them in terms of like setting up a meal plan, because I just don't have the time to go out and eat all the time. Now I still go out and eat, but I mean that my schedule is a bit more tight. I have meetings that I have to attend to. Today I'm just taking a mental break because I need to rest my mind a little bit. My son just got back from visiting his grandma and grandpa, so for me, this is my mental break for me today. But the restaurant I'm dealing with, they make chef level foods, and they can make anything you want. I mean, I went in there one day and I asked them, I was like, "Can you make me some hash browns? Because I haven't had hash browns in a long time, and in American culture, we like our hash browns. Even McDonald's sell you hash browns, so everybody know what a hash brown is. But yeah, I hadn't had a hash brown since I won't say since I landed here. I did have McDonald's before and I had the hash brown, but it's not the same as getting like a homemade hash brown. It tastes better. It's not as greasy, that type of thing. But they made me some hash browns, and I was pretty impressed with what they did with them not even knowing, American culture for that particular type of food. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and if nobody want to say anything else in the chat, I'm gonna end my live stream maybe here in a little bit, and maybe we'll make another video sometime soon. If you guys want me to make more videos, tell me what you want to learn about, or understand about the Philippines, and I'll try to help you. I was just really touching the surface level on one of the subjects, which deals with the whitening soaps and all the other products that they have, and the booklet with only non-Filipinos in there. I mean, I could go much deeper, because I've seen so much here. In fact, I'm gonna talk about it even deeper. I'm gonna show you how bad I call it the whitening epidemic. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being, a white person or anything like that, but when you're not a white person and you go to this extreme, I'm gonna show you how bad it is. There was a person, I won't name them, of course, but they know that my wife worked in a certain field and that she could help them get some certain things done if they might want done. And they were like, they asked me, they said, "Well, I saw you walking with, your wife or whatever." They don't know if it was my wife maybe or not, but whatever the case, they saw me walking with my wife, and they saw us, and they were like, "I saw you with your wife, and I know she does X, Y, and Z, da da da." And they was like, "Can we get an injection for glutathione or whatever?" And I was like, well, at the time, I didn't even fully understand what glutathione or how we pronounce that stuff is, but it's an injection that you take with a needle to make your skin turn white. And when she asked me that, that's what really brought me to the turning point where I was like, man, something is wrong here. Like, if you're willing to go to that extreme, that there's a real big problem here with what I call the whitening epidemic. When you're willing to take a shot to change your skin, I hate to talk about this type of subject. I don't really talk about that on my vlog, but it's a serious issue. Like, you taking an injection and you don't know what kind of chemicals could be in that injection that could make you sick. That really was my breaking point where I was like, okay, this is real. They got some real issues here, man. And I want people to understand that when they come, not everybody's like that, but it is a big problem here. And I have to really, and then you understand this from the perspective of a parent. I have a son. And when the whole society revolves around that, I have to protect him and make sure that I'm daily teaching him that he should love himself the way that he was born. Because everything in this country, at least in the Val City that I've seen, revolves around that. You cannot turn the TV on without seeing it. You cannot turn the radio on. When I'm riding in a cab, all they talking about is that on the commercials. when you're looking at the billboards, when you're watching movies, every single thing revolves around that. Now it's a big industry. People making a whole lot of money off of this. So that's one component of it, but I also think that it stems from I know it's crazy, man. It's crazy. When you live here long enough, you'll understand where I'm coming from and why I call it a white meat epidemic. And okay, my son wants to talk. We're gonna take a break. Go ahead. What you gonna say, son? Huh? I don't know. I'm asking you what you want to say. You can say whatever you want to. It's my vlog. It's your vlog too because you're here with me right now. What do you want to say? My son want to say something. What you want to say? He just smiling. My son that got so big now. What you trying to do? What is that all about? Really? Don't do that, boy. Get your hand out your eye. And what's up with that hand sign? I'm not cool with that. You don't do that. I don't know who taught you that one. I ain't never teach you to do that. I saw him doing something that maybe some other people caught. I'm not gonna talk about that right now in this particular video, but he ain't supposed to do that. I don't play that. You know what I'm saying? But for those who understand, can comprehend. I don't need to explain. But anyway, it's definitely a big deal here, man, and it's kind of sad because you know it's like it's other countries too that I've observed that have the same. I heard in India it's worse. That's what I was told. I've never been to India, so I can't speak on the matter, but it's kind of not hard to believe when you come here and you see how it is here. But in India, don't do that, son. Donovan, put your hand down. Put your hand down. Don't do that. Don't push my face now. No, but I heard it's even worse in India, and I couldn't imagine how worse it could get than what it is here. Now I've even heard that parents are encouraging their little children to do the same thing, like to whiten their skin. Yeah, I know, Jawbreaker. It's definitely crazy in the U.S. We both know that, man. People bleaching their skin and stuff like that. But I think that the reason that, and I'm gonna go into the psychology of why I think people do this. I think it's a society pressure, and it's kind of brainwashing because, when you from childbirth all the way up to adulthood, if all you see in the media is people whitening their skin, and you get enough people to get on that same page, there becomes pressure in society. But not just pressure in society, in general, you have to also look at the aspect of earning. Because here in the Philippines, from what I've been told, is that the skin tone that you have, whether altered or natural, determines the type of jobs that you're associated with working. They associate a person who is darker as doing the dirty work. So the darker the Filipino is, the more they're associated with doing dirty work. They don't have the office jobs and all that type of stuff. So when you wealthy, you're supposed to be considered whiter or lighter skin tone. But when you're darker, you aren't associated with wealth. Okay, I'm just giving you the perspective that I've been given from other people. This ain't even my perspective. This is things that I learned from listening to other people. Now, I'm not saying that their information is 100% accurate. And if you feel that it's inaccurate, you can say so. But from what I observed, even my own self, when I looked at the wealthy people, in general, they are not dark people. At least that's been my observation. They're usually lighter skinned. So I think that your earnings are tied into your skin tone. So obviously there's some forces being used to push you into that direction. Beyond just the regular societal pressures. And if you know anything about psychology and you know anything about groupthink, you know that groupthink is getting people all on the same page. If you get enough people within a group to say something is true or accurate, then eventually those people who aren't agreeing yet eventually will get pulled into that group. So it's a psychological thing. It's also a conditioning thing, because if every day of your life you keep seeing the same thing over and over again, eventually you'll believe it to be true because you're constantly being exposed to it. So it's through repetition, and so the power of the advertisements is repetition. Now imagine this. People say it's not a big deal that they put only white people on the billboards or people who whiten their skin that are Filipino. Then ask them to do this: put a bunch of dark Filipinos on all the billboards across the Philippines in Davao City and see what their reaction would be. And then ask yourself who's really controlling all of this. See, because you can make money in business doing anything, you don't have to be with that. So you really got to ask yourself who's the real controller behind it. Because I don't know any native-born Filipino who will naturally hate themselves without being taught that. So for me, I feel like there's a bigger person behind this who's really controlling this whole program of making people, believe that they need to be white to fit in better. And I've heard people, like I said, talk about this, but I'm not gonna make this a long subject. You know, have I talked with Dr. Mike yet? Dr. Mike. I'm not sure who Dr. Mike is actually. Is that a person that's? I'm talking to Jawbreaker, by the way, to those who are viewing this. Um, I don't know if it shows the messages in the live stream when he messages me, so I kind of have to say that until I understand how live streams work a little bit better. But I'm not sure who Dr. Mike is, so I can't really comment on Dr. Mike. But okay, look him up. He's in the okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look into Dr. Mike and see what he says because I'm still. I'll be honest. I'm still somewhat ignorant about this subject. I'm only talking about the stuff that I'm aware of. That type of thing. But in general, the Philippines is a lot like America, unfortunately, in some ways, because we're being taught to believe that we should have self hatred for the way that we look, and that shouldn't be that way. But I'm not here to change that. I mean, that's their thing. If they want to do that to their skin, that's their personal business. But I'm the type of person if you will tell you this, you can't say that you weren't warned about the dangers of whitening your skin. You can't say that you weren't warned that there may be chemicals in there to destroy you, to harm you. And then you got to ask yourself who's creating these products to harm you and destroy you in the first place. I don't want to look like somebody that colonized me. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't want to look like anyone who tried to enslave me. And I'm speaking specifically to the Filipino people on this because you know who colonized you. It's not a secret to you. So why would you want to look like the person that colonized you? I can't begin to understand that component. That's the one thing I cannot understand. But then again, I can't understand how African American people want to bleach their skin. Being a black person, I couldn't do that to myself. Now, of course, there is some room for ignorance, so I can't say that I understand them fully because there may be that a situation where they were raised that way. Ain't nothing I can do about that. But when you do wake up to the truth and understand that you shouldn't be doing that to yourself, you need to stop. So you can't just put all people in one group and say, well, they all lost and they don't know what they're doing. But at the end of the day, when you wake up and understand that what you're doing is destructive to yourself, you should stop. I think, but I'm not gonna stop there. I know I like to talk too. Me and my son are alike. But I'm gonna take y'all into some deep stuff. Now I'm not gonna say too much because I don't wanna, get myself in any trouble here. But I'm just gonna get right to the point and tell you like it is. Even when me and my wife, went to the hospital when she was pregnant, there was a situation where I told, the this is some other stuff. This isn't about again. It's not about the whitening stuff. But I'm gonna go into some deeper stuff, man, about how you should be. You should be proactive in protecting yourself and your family. And this goes for no matter where you live. This ain't even about the Philippines itself only. This is just no matter where you go. Even in America, you should be very wise. You should be very well, aware of everything that's going on. So for example, when me and my wife went to the hospital when she was pregnant, they offered her a product. And I won't name the product because I'm not trying to get myself sued. But this particular product has some ingredients in it, and the doctor said to me, well, you should give your wife this, and, for milk production. And I was like, well, I'm the type of person, I'm not going to cut you off when you first tell me something. Even if I may have my set of thoughts or views on it, I have to research it first before I make a final decision. So I read on the product, and it says that it has a certain ingredient in there that causes diabetes. And what do you know? The Philippines has an epidemic of diabetes. Now, it's not necessarily related to just that product. It's a collective of things. But when you start adding more stuff into the equation that adds and compounds to giving people diabetes, then you need to make sure you reduce that risk. Well, the doctor recommended this product that had an ingredient that causes diabetes and a bunch of other bad stuff too that I won't go into in this video. But I asked the doctor, I said, you do know that this causes diabetes, right? And she looked at me with a straight face and said, yeah, I know it caused diabetes. And I was like, my mind had to make sure I heard her correctly because I was like, did she just say that she understands that it caused diabetes? And my brain was like spinning, like making sure I wasn't like misunderstanding or misthinking this through. And she said that she understood. And so that at that particular point in time, it really made me realize that we as parents and as husbands and wives, we have to look after each other. And so I told the doctor, I said, no, I will not give my wife that. I won't allow her to have that because you understand it causes diabetes, and so do I. So we both have an understanding and agreement that it causes diabetes, and it's known to cause that. I think it even had carcinogens in it, which are things that can cause cancer. And so I agreed that I would not give her that, and we didn't accept that particular product. But you really got to protect your family, man. You know, not just with the whitening cream stuff. That's just one component of society. You know, you got to protect them all around and make sure you do your homework and make sure you keep them safe, man. And you gotta be diligent. But anyway, you know, I've experienced a lot of things since I've been here in the Philippines, and you know, it's crazy sometimes the things that I experience or hear, you know, or see. But you know, in general, the Philippines is a great place. That's what I want you guys to know at the end of the day. The Philippines is a great place. You should come visit. Don't let the things I'm telling you stop you from coming here. You know, there's positives and negatives no matter what country you go to. You know, there's positives and negatives in the U.S. just like there's positives and negatives here. And so, you know, and not everybody's gonna like you. I'll be honest with you. You know, not everybody, but it's a rare event that you run into someone that don't like you. Filipinos are very kind, generous people for the most part. That's been my experience. My family here, for the most part, is very kind. I haven't had any real issues with them. They're very trustworthy. I think you can learn a lot by coming to the Philippines. You can really learn a lot about being very connected with family and trusting one another. I mean, you know, in the U.S., you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. Some family members, they don't even want to give you $1 or two, you know, and it's because they scared you might not pay them back. In the Philippines, I mean, they can give you any kind of amount of money, and they're comfortable with that, and knowing that you're gonna pay them back, you know, that type of thing. Just little simple things like that that I've observed since I've been here. You know, and I'm not saying that's the thing for everybody. I'm not saying to just come here and just trust everybody and anybody because that's not smart. You know, you need to be observant and aware of like if that person is truly trustworthy. You know, you use your common sense. But in general, the Filipino people are very good people. I know when I first came here, there was a guy who I got a lot of stories I can share with y'all, man. When I first arrived here, there was a guy who was trying to give me food at the mall, like buy me food, and I was like, I don't understand this. Why are you trying to buy me food, man? I don't want no food. You know, because in the U.S. that can mean a whole lot of different things when somebody trying to buy you food. You know, when somebody trying to buy you food or be friends with you that don't know you, that could mean it's a drug dealer. It could mean a whole lot of things in the U.S. So I was kind of on guard. I was like, I don't know about you buying me no food, man. I'm good. I don't need no food. You go ahead and do what you do. But it turned out he was an okay guy. He ended up buying me food anyway. You know, but I asked my wife later, and she, you know, she was like, it's not really a big deal. But yeah, man, you know, people might walk up to you and try to buy you food, which is it's just strange because people don't do that in the U.S. You know, ain't nobody about to walk up to you and just, hey man, I'm gonna buy you some food without there being some strings attached possibly to that. You know, so it was just kind of weird to me that he did that. But he was a good guy, you know. Also, being a foreigner in the Philippines, you're like a celebrity. You know, you really stand out, and you might meet some very powerful, and I met some very powerful people. If they see my vlog, they gonna know who I am. You know, I'm talking about some really powerful people that, you know, they make a lot of money here. They well established. You know, they got all the expensive cars. they know me because they see me at some of the different restaurants, and I find out later though. I don't know at the time of meeting them that they're famous or anything like that, or that they're well known. But later on, I find out, I'm like, oh man, I didn't know you was so and so. I sat down and had dinner with you, So it's kind of funny. But as a foreigner, you really will meet a lot of probably famous people or wealthy people in the Philippines, and you may not know it until afterward that who they are, and you'll be shocked who they are. Like, man, I can't believe. I mean, if I sat down with if I saw Manny Pacquiao, of course I know who that is. I mean, we all know who he is, so that wouldn't be a surprise. But some of the other people here that you're not gonna know in America, you might end up having dinner with them and not even know it. That's how crazy it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this stream up. This is probably my longest stream I've ever made. It's like almost a whole hour. But I don't know if there's anything else I want to talk about today. Just let me know if this video was good enough. I'm using, like I said, my new LED light. It should make my video look about hopefully 70% better than my previous iPad videos that had like a billion times more grain in it. But, okay, awesome, man. Well, according to Jawbreaker, the video quality was good, and I'm assuming you can hear me really well. And I'll try to make more of these videos, but I can't promise like the consistency. And I will definitely check out Dr. Michael DeVal, Jawbreaker. So I'm not gonna forget to do that. But I can't promise the consistency of my vlog videos because you know my business is unpredictable. You know, and I have ongoing contracts even right now. I just happen to hire some people to help me so that I can actually breathe. One thing about running a business, man, when it's slow, you like, man, things so slow. But then when things get real heavy, man, it's an overload. I mean, there's times where I work 60 hours a week, but I'm trying to get away from that. I don't want to overstress myself and overwork myself like that anymore. It's not worth it. No matter how much money they pay, it's not worth it. So, I see somebody else is on here. War Mac Waiters. I think that's a new person, and maybe you've been on my vlog before. I don't remember that particular name. But I've been here probably about 4 years almost now or so. So I've been here for quite a while. I'm still trying to pick up on the language. I guess we're gonna have an extension of my vlog because somebody else joined on here. But yeah, I've been here for a while. Have you been here for for a while in the Philippines, or are you from somewhere else actually? And I got a little bit of delay on my audio. I'm not sure if you actually picked up what I said, but let me repeat that one more time because it looks like my video kind of froze up a bit. But how long have you been here, or are you in another country right now? If you heard what I said. Well, assuming he did hear me, I'll get a reply from him probably in the comment section or something when he follows up. But yeah, I've been here for quite a while, and I'm trying to learn, still learn the local language. Oh, you're gonna take a trip up here next year for. And sorry if I said this name wrong, Warmac Waiters. I apologize if I said that wrong. Okay, well that's awesome that you're planning to come here next year. I hope you have a safe travel here. If you haven't watched my video on getting the best ticket in the Philippines, to get here without it being too expensive, you definitely probably want to check that out. I don't know if it still holds true to the information I shared in there originally, but at the time that I had came here, that information was relevant still at that time that I made that video. And, it probably can save you some money on your ticket here. One thing I would say is make sure you have a plan. I don't know like who you know here. My son just turned off the fan, so it's probably gonna become a lot more clear for the audio. But one thing I would say is make sure you have a plan for how you can contact your family in the U.S. because I'm gonna share another story with y'all. I guess we're not done. When I first arrived here at the airport, my first off my cell phone does not work internationally. By the way, okay, I'll probably try Cebu. Okay, you're going to a different city. Okay, that's awesome. Cebu is a nice place. They got some really good ice cream. If you go into Cebu, I think it was in Cebu. If you go into Cebu, go to I think it's Moon Sunny and Sky or something like that at SM Mall. Ask for Moon Sunny and Sky or look it up online. You might be able to find it online. I'm not 100% sure about the spelling. Maybe I'll reply to you in the comment section later. But check out the Moon, Sunny, and Sky, I believe it is, ice cream place. Some of the best ice cream. I would say literally the best ice cream. And I know I said before that my favorite ice cream probably was, in my previous video, was a different company, but I got a new favorite company. Moon, Sunny, and Sky. Some of the best. I mean, the best, I have to say at this point in time. The best ice cream I've ever had. I think in my whole life, literally. It really is that good. It's amazing ice cream at one of the SM malls in Cebu. I don't know which one that was that we went to. Okay, if you download the app Google Voice, you can make calls back to the. Oh, okay. Jawbreaker said that if you get the Google Voice app, you can make phone calls back to the U.S. Now, if you have yeah, that's a good point. I guess if you went to a place that has a stable connection, or the place that you're staying at has a stable internet connection, you could definitely do that. But my additional concern on top of that is that, when you arrive at the airport, like in my case, because I'm supposed to finish my story here. Uh, but yeah, Jawbreaker's right. You can use Wi-Fi to definitely make those phone calls. I live in Davao City, and that's for War Maker or something, or I don't know his name. I apologize. Hopefully these, I don't know. Do you any of you know if the chat show up on screen in the live stream? Again, I'm new to this, so I really don't fully know about 100% everything in the live stream. Does it show the chat messages? So that way I don't have to keep announcing like each person's name. You can just see it visually. I hope you can see that in the live stream, who's chatting and what they're saying. But oh, okay. Jawbreaker said yes, so you can see those messages. So I don't have to announce that anymore, and I don't have to pretend like I can pronounce the names of each of these different names for people's YouTube accounts. But yeah, so I guess you can try the Google Voice app. Thanks for you guys who mentioned that. That you could do that to make calls back. But for me, when I first arrived here in the Philippines, when I was at the airport, I was waiting for my now wife. I say now wife because she wasn't my wife at the time. Uh, okay, yeah, we definitely can talk over Google. But I actually have a phone line, Jawbreaker. So if you did want to talk over the phone, I have a phone line that goes to the U.S. So it doesn't cost me anything special to make that phone call. So I have an international. Well, it's not an international line, but it's a internet based line that has an actual phone number tied to it. But when I still haven't finished my story, y'all. But it's all good. I'm enjoying this chat. So I don't keep dropping them messages if you want to say something. But I'm gonna definitely get to the story. When I want to share this because it's my experience when I first got here. When I arrived at the airport, my cell phone didn't work, and the Wi-Fi in the airport is not necessarily dependable. In fact, I could not connect to the Wi-Fi at the airport, which became a problem for me. So I ended up having to depend on this kind No, I don't know if it was a Filipino. I can't 100% say for sure, but this kind person will say at the airport, let me use their cell phone, and I was able to call my now wife cell phone. And that was how she was able to know exactly where I was at in the airport and everything. So if it wasn't for that person, maybe they'll see my video one day and be like, oh, I remember that guy. I let him use my cell phone. But because of that person, I was able to find out where she was at, and she was able to find out where I was at. Because I couldn't depend on the Wi-Fi at the airport. So that's kind of a big issue, which is why I was saying, make sure you have a plan of how you're going to contact that person if you're meeting someone here. If you're not meeting anyone here, then it's not as big of a deal. But if you're not meeting anyone here, and you need to catch, for example, let's say you arrive at the Manila airport, and you need to catch a taxi to somewhere else, you need to understand the rules that deal with that. So for example, if you arrive at the airport, there's certain taxis that you shouldn't catch, and I don't remember 100% which ones you're not supposed to catch. I'll have to ask someone about that again because it's been a very long time since I've been at the Manila airport and had to catch a taxi. But if you're a foreigner, you can run into some potential issues with taxis, getting overcharged, possibly getting robbed, depending on where they send you. I'm not saying they all gonna do that, but you definitely could get overpriced for your taxi. So, you want to make sure you read up on that online before you come here. I'm not saying that that's the majority of everyone there. I'm just saying that there was some potential issues that I read about online, but fortunately for me, I was meeting someone, so they couldn't really pull that on me. So I was all good. But I saw a message. Let me go ahead and see if I can see that message. Um, somebody posted a message here. Let me read it. Oh, okay. He asked me what made me move here. Well, for me, and I'm waiting for my video to reset itself. It kind of went stuttery there for a minute. For me, it wasn't really about me moving here. There was never. I'll be honest with you. There never was a plan for me to really move here. What ended up happening is I came to visit my now wife here, and we were just friends basically at that time. And I had came to the city. I liked how everything looked. The weather was nice. The people were kind. I found some decent food because you gotta eat well, and I just like how everything was laid back. It was really peaceful. You know, I really couldn't ask for more for this type of environment. It's a very different environment. Um, and it's a bit different. It's a different experience, really. That's really what it all comes down to. And the weather's nice all year round. I can't really complain about that. Where I come from, it's cold and hot part of the year. So, you kind of have an idea where I may be from because it's hot part of year and cold part of year. At least the general area. But what's the biggest problem that I've had since I've been here? Well, I would say the biggest problem I've had. I'm having an interview now. I came my first interview on my live stream. The biggest problem that I've had is dealing with the Bureau of Immigration, and it's not that like I did anything wrong or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. It really has to do with the systems in place. See, when you go to the Bureau of Immigration, you can spend your whole life there for the whole day. If you've been in the Philippines and you've been to immigration, you know how it can be. It could be a very slow process um, for you to process certain things. Now, if you go in there to get a visa extension, and you don't have to have a visa to come here, we all know that part. Or if you didn't know that, now you know. But if you have a visa and you want to get that extended, or a tourist visa and you want to get that extended, when I say you don't have to have a visa, I mean you don't have to have a special visa to come here. You can just automatically come here as a tourist, just for clarification. But when you're getting your visa extended as a tourist, even it could be paperwork. It could be frustrating. They may ask you to go get a photo of yourself, a passport photo, and you may have to do a whole bunch of other things. You may have to visit a lawyer's office to get documents signed and all that kind of stuff. Possibly, you never know what you're gonna run into. And when you go to their Bureau of Immigration website, everything is not really clearly written out. And that can be quite frustrating. So you get there and you bring the paperwork that you think you need, and then they're like, "Well, we need this from you. Why didn't you bring that?" And you're like, "Well, it wasn't on the website, and it wasn't in the documentation that I read." So that can be quite frustrating. That's probably the most difficult thing that I ran into. When I say no visa is needed, you can come here as a tourist. If you're from, I should clarify, if you're from America, if you're from America, you don't have to have a visa. You can come here as a tourist, but there's a limit. I think last time, I think what Jawbreaker said is still accurate. It's 30 days max. But when you come here, no, I don't know if that's for the non-visa, but you're not, to the best of my knowledge, still required to have a visa. At least from the last time I looked on it. But Jawbreaker, you can comment on that because it sounds like you read on it recently, and I haven't. But last time I checked, you do not need a visa to come to the Philippines. Oh, for the visa extension. Okay, so maybe for the visa extension, you will need that. You will need that possibly. But if you're just coming here generally and you're under, I think no more than 30 days, you can be here. And your ticket, if you watch you can watch my video. I'm not gonna explain that because it's already out there. Just go watch my video on coming here with an airplane ticket, making sure that all that stuff is set correctly. I have a video on that on my channel if you want to learn more about that. But for visa extensions, according to Jawbreaker, you do need to have a special visa for that. Which I guess that would make sense because you're doing an extension. So yeah, that would make sense to have that. But if you're just generally coming here as a tourist, you don't need any special visa. You can stay up to 30 days. Last time I checked. But do you have any other questions? I'm kind of enjoying this. It's kind of fun answering questions for people that may need some answers to some things that they don't know the answers to. One thing I want to talk about is things to do in the Philippines. One thing you may not like in the Philippines, there may not be as many activities for you to do. If you're staying like me for 60 days, you need. Oh yeah. If you're staying for 60 days, I mean you can't get a one type of visa that lets you stay 60 days. So you would have to extend. And you would want to extend obviously well before your initial time runs out. So you do want to extend if you're staying for 60 days because they don't have anything that you can just come here and stay 60 days. Even when I came here with a visa, um, I wasn't able to stay 60 days straight. From at least if I remember correctly, I wasn't able to stay 60 days straight. So you do want to make sure that if I recall correctly, I can't remember for sure. You have to check it because things do change, and I don't want to say if I don't. I'm the type of person I don't want to say something unless I really know for a fact, and I don't want to give misinformation, especially when you're traveling, 8,000 plus miles or more. You're way out of your country. You want to make sure this information is right. Uh, to this question, I take taxis mainly here. You know, um, and the taxi rates are a bit higher than what they were when I initially arrived here. It's definitely more expensive, but it's for me. I don't know. I mean, it depends on your budget. I mean, I could travel for. I'm just estimating. I can't say with 100% accuracy. Oh yeah, the Jeepney is much cheaper. Um, it's much cheaper to ride a Jeepney. For the Jeepney, if you don't mind being crammed in, there's some exceptions to the rule here. So I gotta give a disclaimer here. If you're riding on the Jeepney and you don't mind being crammed, I mean, you probably would like to do this when you first arrive because it's just a different experience. If you get on the Jeepney, it's gonna be crammed in there. I mean, you're gonna be crammed in there like sardines. It looks like Jawbreaker doesn't mind, so he don't mind, but it's all about your preference. I don't mind getting on the jeepney either. It's not a bad way to travel around. But it costs you about 8 pesos. I mean, 8 pesos is that's small change. I mean, $1 is about 50 pesos if you want to get a perspective of how much that is. And for 8 pesos, I mean, you can go quite the distance for 8 pesos. But if you're catching a cab, it's definitely going to be a lot more expensive. If you went, I don't know, for 20-minute drive, okay, he gave me the breakdown. It's 20 cents for those 8 pesos. 8 pesos is like 20 cents. So it's super super cheap. But if you're catching a cab, man, if you're going about 20 minutes, that could end up costing you. Again, it's just an estimate, a guess. It's a guess estimate. I would say about $4 for like 20 minutes, maybe for $4. So 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, a rough estimate. You might go about that long for about $4 or the equivalent of about 200 pesos. And I'm assuming an exchange rate of 50 pesos to the dollar. Is it easy to make friends here? No, we're not opening that right now, son. My son wants to open the door, but I don't want to open it right now. but um, easy to make friends. Well, I mean, naturally, as a foreigner, people are going to be drawn to you. So if you're walking around the city, there's definitely gonna everybody's gonna be drawn to you. And Jawbreaker made a comment. Yes, the ladies are gonna see you, but everybody's gonna see you. It's not just women that's gonna see you. Everyone's gonna notice you, no matter where you go. You're gonna stand out as a foreigner. It's just a fact of the matter. I really equate coming to the Philippines as, especially if you're coming to Davao. Now it depends on what city you're in. And now if you're going to like Manila, you may not stand out as much because I think Manila is more acquainted with seeing foreigners every day. Not that they're not acquainted here, but it's a little bit different. When I went to Manila, I really didn't feel like everybody was really noticing me. They did notice me, but it was different to me at least. That was my experience. I can't say that for everybody. But when you're in Davao, everybody's going to notice you, and I equate it to celebrity status. You get all the things that come along with being a celebrity, but you don't get the wealth that comes with that celebrity status. Unless you're doing a business here, then maybe you could do that. Oh yeah, he doesn't like Manila. Yeah, well, the reason I don't like Manila is really because I have a family, and I don't like the fact that there's smoke everywhere, like people smoking. Uh, yeah, I agree. Davao is a lot better city in my opinion. In Manila, everything's kind of far away, but Davao City things are a lot closer and easier to access in my opinion. I mean, me and my wife walked like 30 minutes to get to a place, and we didn't realize how far it was because in Davao City you can walk to somewhere and it's not too bad. But it took us like, man, 30 minutes to walk there. I don't. It probably took a little bit longer than that. But we had walk to a place to get some food, and we never did that again after that experience. We realized how far the places were. We stopped walking unless we knew exactly where it was at in the total distance. But to answer your question about is the Vow City safe, I mean that's really a difficult question to answer, and I say this for any place. There's always going to be issues in any country you go into or any city that you go into for that matter. So I could be an American and be like, yeah, it ain't safe in that city, but the same thing here with the Philippines. There are certain areas that may be unsafe. I haven't really went to an unsafe area, so I can't say specifically what areas are unsafe, especially for Cebu. If you go to Cebu, I can't say what's unsafe in Cebu because I only went there one time, and it was with family, so they took us to places that they knew, and I met family in Cebu that we have that I never met before. But in Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, if you, I guess I gotta make a clarification on can you drink water in the vow. If you're talking about water from the mall, like you buying bottled water, or from any, or even a street vendor that's selling bottled water, that's safe. I've drank it. I haven't got sick, so for me, for myself personally, it's safe. I drink it. You don't have to. I'm not telling you to buy the bottled water from the vendors on the street or even from the grocery store. But me personally, I feel safe. I've been here quite a few years, and I've never gotten sick to the best of my knowledge from drinking bottled water. Now, if you're talking about tap water, I wouldn't recommend drinking that, but I wouldn't recommend drinking tap water in any country. I did my homework on the U.S. and I read that they put certain chemicals in the water, and so for me, even in the U.S., I would never drink tap water ever. And if you know anything about Flint, Michigan, I mean, after that story, you shouldn't be drinking no tap water anywhere in America because that could happen anywhere. You don't know what they may have in your water. So after that incident, I would never drink tap water anywhere. Anyway. uh, oh, you're gonna be staying in Ecoland. Okay, that's awesome, man. You're gonna be real good. That's easy work because you stay close to everything. My son said that's easy work too. My son can really copy anything that I say now. It's kind of amazing to me. Do you have to pay for your wife's family? Can you be more specific? In what way? Like, what do you mean? Like, pay for their housing, or like, give me like a specific answer of what you're asking for. So I'm just waiting for him to give me a more clarified question, so I can answer it a bit better because it's kind of a general statement. He's kind of asking like, do I have to pay for my wife's family? Like, do you mean like, for example, like, do I have to pay for like all their expenses, or do you mean like for specific things? Because what, and I'll just tell you up front. My family here in the Philippines, they're pretty well off. I won't say what their specific status is because I can't really comment on that fully because I don't know everything. But in general, my family here, they're doing pretty well, I think, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. You know, don't flash it in my face, son. My son has his flashlight. He's about to flash it in my eyes. That was gonna hurt. But in general, my family here, they're pretty well off. From what I observed, um, they all work. So there really isn't a thing where like I gotta give them money or something. I think I know what you're trying to get at. I've read in forums that some families. Yeah, okay, yeah. That I don't have to do all that. No, no, no. Okay, he was asking, do I have to give my wife's family money to marry her? No, no, ain't nothing like that going on here. I don't do that. Now, if that was the case, I wouldn't be able to marry my wife because it's based on a monetary value. So for me, that goes against my principles and my beliefs, and I don't believe that you should have to pay to marry someone. So for me, that would totally go against my principles, and I would already be back in America if that was the case. So for me, no, I don't have to pay my wife's family any kind of money to marry her. That was not the case when we got married. And my family, they're very kind in sharing people. Let me explain that a little bit better, for you. They give me stuff. You know, I don't really have to give them anything. They're so generous. They're very generous people. Uh, and I'm just sharing this with you. I'm just saying that I have a really good family here, and I don't mind saying that on YouTube. Nothing wrong with that. It's not anything negative or bad. They're very kind people. They're very generous. They always offer me things. It's not a give take relationship. It's a sharing relationship. They really do share with me. I see somebody left me a comment. Let's see how to bring these messages back up. Oh man, you asking the tough question of the day. How do you get U.S. dollars besides the company that he mentioned? I'm not gonna mention their name in the live stream. I'm not trying to give no free promotions now. But how do you get other types of ways of getting money here besides the more expensive way? Um, and I've used that company before actually to send money, and I actually used it to send money to people that I used for contract work at one point. But I stopped using that method. But I would recommend, and I hate to name companies, but I have to do it but I'm not sponsored by this company. Let me make that clarification. I am not sponsored by the company I'm about to mention. They have paid me nothing. I don't make no money from saying this. This is just my true experience. Now, if they want to sponsor me later, that's their business. But um, at this particular point, I want to make it very clear they're not sponsoring. But Transfast, and I don't know if I can type that to you guys. Let me see if I can type. I wish I could send a message, but I don't see any way to do that from the iPad. And this is an old iPad, by the way. It's version 2 of the Mini, I think. So I don't think I can actually send a chat message. So, but go to transfast.com. So TRANS and then the word fast. So transfast.com. And if you're in America, set all that information up. But here's the catch though. Here's the catch. See, I don't know y'all situation. So if you know someone here that you trust and you can send money to their bank account, they're not going to steal your money, that type of thing. Then you can use that service to send money to them. That way, when you get here, you already getting your money in pesos. Okay, and now the exchange rate is not amazing, but neither is the one from the other company, that was mentioned. So, don't expect amazing transfer rates, but it is a lot. I think it's a lot better than I'll mention the company. What the heck? Let's just say it. Western Union. Last time I checked, their exchange rate is not as good as this company. And the thing is, with this Transfast.com company, you can send money over a course of a week. So you can send the money in advance. I would recommend if you send it like over a course of a week, meaning that you have the plan where you have to wait. There's no upfront fee. So like with Western Union, I think you still pay a fee to send that money. Whereas with Transfast, if you got the patience to wait like a week or so, or 2 to 3 days, it could take up to 2 to 3 days to like a week possibly. Then you can have that money here without any extra upfront fees. So you just pay the money that you want, and then it just shows you your exchange rate. So for example, I've had an exchange rate sometimes at 50 pesos, 51, 52. Whereas before, when I was going through these different services, I was getting exchange rates like 47, 48. Just horrible exchange rates. Compared to what I'm getting now when the exchange rates go high. This is when the exchange rates are high. I'm still getting like 48s and 47s per dollar. So not really good exchange rates. And you might say, well, that's not a big deal. But when you're talking about money over a period of time and you stay here for some years, that's a lot of money lost. When I first got here, I lost hundreds of dollars doing exchange rates through my bank and through other services because they were hitting me with so many expenses and fees. So you definitely want to think about that. That's a very important topic. And my number one service that I recommend right now that I've had the best experience with is transfast.com. Another one that I really didn't use extensively, which I think is owned by PayPal. For PayPal, they have a service called Exum. I believe it's spelled Exum. I don't know how to spell that. I think it's XOOM.com. Don't quote me on that. But I think that's another service that's okay. I think I used them one time a long, long time ago, but the exchange rate may not be that great still. In terms of beaches, the one beach that let Let me just make sure I read it right. Do you ever go to beaches? Yes, I do go to beaches. The beaches that I can think of, the names of right now is one of the beaches is Paradise Island. That's one of the ones I went to. I went to Pearl Farm. I went to another resort called I think Secdea. I don't know if I'm saying the name right on that. If there's any Filipinos that show up on this channel, you can comment on that. I don't know the exact name, but we went to a few different places, and there was oh yeah, Samal Island. Samal Island. That's a very common place to go here. But Samal Island has a lot of different a lot of different beaches that you can go to. So, or I should say, different areas where you're on the shoreline of the where the water is at. I don't know how to describe that fully, but they have different resorts along the shoreline that you can go to. But yeah, if you go to Samal Island, you ask anybody about Samal Island and what beaches to go to when you arrive here, they can definitely tell you like, oh, you should check out this place or that place. They can give you a lot more insight than I can. Nice blue waters and yeah, they got nice blue waters and also green waters. But this one place I went to in Mati, I think that's the name of the city. It was kind of nice. The sand was amazing. I didn't want to get in the water because I didn't like how the water looked at that particular beach. But the sand was just so. I was really looking for a place that has a really soft sandy beach, and we went to Mati. I think it's called Mati City, and they had the softest sand I've ever stepped in the Philippines as of yet. It was really nice place. I really enjoyed it. Just as I like walking in the sand, it's really comfortable on your feet, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna have to ask my wife about the name of the place or the resort that we went to for that particular event because that was recent. That was like 2 days ago that we went there because I was taking a vacation because I work a lot and sometimes I need to have a break. So we went ahead and took a break with her friends and we hung out for a bit and had a little bit of fun. But yeah, they got a lot of beaches here. Is the language barrier tough? Nah, not really. Not here in Davao. Not here in Davao. In Davao, most people speak English, and I have to add a but to that. There are people that may not speak English very well, and you need to be able to at least be able to communicate with them somehow, even if it's just using visual cues to kind of give them understanding of what you want them to do. Because there are situations that I've run into, which is it's very rare, but I have run into situations where some people do not speak English well enough or understand it well enough to communicate with you, and that's when I usually use the local language here to speak with them to the best of my ability because I'm not perfect in the language, but my hearing skills have improved a lot, and I can usually understand a lot better what they're saying better than what I can speak it, which is a starting point. But you don't really need that. When I first got here, I didn't know any of the language. 99% of the people that I ran into speak good English. And chances are, if you run into someone who doesn't speak English, chances are 99% there's some chance that somebody's around that speaks good English. 99% of the time, that's been my experience. So even in the worst situations, you can find somebody that speaks good enough English to help you communicate with that person that doesn't speak it well. So I wouldn't worry about learning the language. That's not as important, because most Filipinos they speak good English. So you're not gonna have that language barrier issue. It's not to say that you won't run into it ever, but it is definitely possible that somebody may not speak good English. But it's a rarity. You're not gonna probably run into that issue. Yes, as Jawbreaker said, it's pretty good English here. I mean, I think the Philippines is one of the countries that speaks some of the best English that that's not their native language, but they're one of the top countries. I think a lot of companies. I'm telling some of their secrets. A lot of companies that are in the U.S. may be hiring Filipinos to if you've ever been on the phone and you talk on the phone, you might not realize it, but some of the people that you're talking to on the phone might be from the Philippines at these call centers that you're talking to on the phone for customer service. I know because some of the services I use in the U.S. and I'm talking to them on the phone, and I'm like, "You sound like you from the Philippines." And they're like, "Yeah, I'm from the Philippines. Where are you from, sir?" And I tell them I'm here too, and then they start to laugh because they didn't realize that they're talking to someone from America who's actually here, calling for a service that's in America. So you know, a lot of times you're actually speaking to Filipinos in some cases on the phone, and you may not even be aware of it because their English is so good that you would never know. You know, it really is that good. So language, you won't have to worry about language at all. I guess I don't know what else we're gonna talk about on this show. I got 6 people watching. I think this is the most viewers I've ever had on a live stream. You know, and from what I can tell, a lot of my viewers really enjoy these live streams because I noticed that when I did that last live stream, my subscriber count went up. You know, the number of likes went up. So I think doing the live streams are maybe this is the way that I should continue to do my vlog from now on. If I'm going to make a video on my vlog, I'll just do a live stream and I'll use the iPad because it seems to have the most impact on this channel. Oh yeah, they definitely do have a lot of call centers. I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, there's some big, massive buildings here, you know, that are completely dedicated to call centers. But I think that, son, boy, why would you do that? My son then tapped on the screen and turned the screen around. Now I gotta say sorry to everybody. I'm sorry my house so messy because my son toys everywhere. If you saw his toys there, because he be having his toys all over the house. But you know, the call centers are definitely here. You know, a lot of people are being hired here. If you're wondering where all the service center jobs are going, you know, for customer care, that's a lot of them are here. A lot of them are here. You know, we don't have. Oh man, I can't believe you saying that, drop right here. Maybe you enjoyed it, but I don't enjoy that. He talking about durian. I gotta turn this fan on because I'm about to sweat up in here. Hold on. It's super hot up in here, so I'm turning the fan back on. I'll be honest. The durian. Oh no, don't turn it off, son. It's super hot up in here. I'm about to be sweating, son. You want? He turned the fan off on me. Can you turn the fan back on? Press the button. Donovan, press the button. Son, press the button. It's super hot up in here. The next one up. Next one up. Yeah, thank you. Press it all the way in. All the way. Press it all the way in. Yeah, he turned the fan off on me, and I'm getting hot up in here. I know he got to be getting hot too. Let me go back here and see what the next message is. Oh yeah, he's talking about durian. Durian is like it's sweet, it tastes good, but man, the smell of that durian. A lot of brownouts. Oh yeah, let's talk about brownouts. Okay, now before I'll be honest, when I first got here, brownouts were common. At least in the area that I was staying in. Brownouts were common, and that was one of the reasons I actually ended up moving out of that area. Now I was originally staying, and I won't say where I'm staying now, but I was originally staying at the place that Jawbreaker is saying that he was staying at. But they fixed that issue to the best of my knowledge. It's not a big issue anymore. But before, in the I won't name this place specifically because I don't want to say where the man is living and give away his information. But the place that he's staying in, they used to have, you know, brownouts on a regular basis. You know, not every day, but it could be once a week. Oh, he had one in 30 days. So it looked like they haven't completely eliminated that issue. But I know at one point when I was staying there, man, they could have one every week, once a week, you know. And you don't want to be in the elevator when you have a brownout. And unfortunately for us, we was never in the elevator when they had a brownout, so we never got stuck in the elevator. But could you imagine that being stuck in the elevator possibly when there's a brownout? But you know, I got away from that place because I was like, I don't want to deal with these brownouts, you know, anymore. And the brownouts didn't fully go away when we moved away from there. But you know, the brownouts in general has really went way down. I would say, man, if we do experience one, maybe once every few months, and if it happens, the brownouts that we've had this year, almost non-existent, literally. I mean, and if it do go off, it might be for 1 minute or 5 minutes, and then the power's right back on. You know, so they made a massive improvement from when I first arrived here. It was a lot worse than that. many times worse. Like we got it really good now. Let me go ahead and go back to the chats here and see what they're saying here. Oh yeah, Jawbreaker is absolutely right. So if they do have a brownout, um, let me wait for my video to retract back. Yeah, if they do have a brownout, you can go to the mall, one of the malls, because the malls usually have a backup generator system. But if it's late at night in the middle of the night and it's hot, I would recommend for that type of situation when it's beyond business hours, is to buy you a portable USB fan, and you can buy that at the mall and charge it up. That way, if it's hot at nighttime, you can at least keep yourself cool with the fan. You won't burn up super hot in the house. And buy if you want to see and it's dark and you can't see, buy you a flashlight. I mean, that would be the other option that you would have so you can see in the dark. But and I've had to use a flashlight before when the power goes out. But those would be my two options for you: is to buy a fan, a USB portable fan, and buy you a flashlight so you can see if it's dark and you're in the house and you want to be able to move around, that type of thing. But those are the two main things that I would recommend as a way to alleviate your pain during a brownout. But other than that, I mean, there really isn't a lot that you have to prepare for. I mean, the only thing that happens during a brownout is that you're losing your electricity. Take a cold shower too. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got some brilliant ideas there, Jawbreaker. That's definitely true. If you really are hot and you're burning up, you can always take a cold shower because they definitely got cold water in the Philippines. You can definitely take that at any point in time. So if you want to take a cold shower to cool off, you can do that. Or you could even you could go somewhere and go to the beach. Go for a swim in the water. Maybe if the day they're having a brownout, just go out somewhere. Somewhere that it may not be where you want to go. You could go. Yeah, you can go to the pool. You can go to a pool. If you're at a condo unit that has the pools built in there, you could do that. So there's a lot of options. There's definitely a lot of options that you could do. So just to recap, you can go to the mall, you can go to the pool, you can take a cold shower. Assuming that the mall is open, you can go to the beach, get in some water. Those are a few different options. But for me, I've been through enough brownouts where it really doesn't bother me. Even if they started back up again, it's not really a big deal. I mean, now if they start having them like too often, then yeah, eventually it will bother me some. Do I miss my home country? Well, I definitely miss my family. That's probably the biggest thing. I would say I definitely miss my family. It's difficult being away from your family for sure. And with the time difference is you have to wake up super early in the morning or you have to stay awake late at night to make certain phone calls because people got things that they're doing in their life. They got jobs. It's sometimes very difficult to stay in contact. So I definitely would say that it's not easy. The one thing I probably say I miss about my home country outside of the family factor, uh, just accessibility of certain things. In the Philippines, you okay, son? Okay. In the Philippines, when it comes to and see, I work online, so I need access to high quality electronics like computers, hardware, that type of stuff. Yes, my family has visited here before. They definitely have. But I'm gonna finish up on your first question. Having access to technology is much more expensive here. I mean, a computer you buy in the U.S. could cost you. You okay, son? Hey, what's wrong? Huh? He over here sound like he about to cry. He crying on me a little bit. Not really crying, but like sound like he complaining. But having access to technology is very difficult. You know, again, you could buy if you buy a computer in the U.S. that costs you $1,000. That $1,000 computer here could end up costing you $2,000. Like literally, it could be that drastic of a difference. So if you come in here and you work online or you have any business that's connected to the internet, whatever technology you require, I recommend that you bring it with you. Don't plan on buying it here unless you plan on paying top dollar for it. So that'd be one thing that I miss in my home country is just accessibility to technology. And that goes across the board for most technology, cameras included. If you deal anything with cameras, computers, you know, yeah, like Jawbreaker said, bring your own stuff because if you don't, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you in a very big way. Because I can tell you right now, it's not cheap. It's not cheap at all, and it's not worth the expense. Yeah, every Jawbreaker's right. Everything else is pretty much good on price. I mean, when you're buying food, if you're buying basic electronics, like I did a video a long time ago about cheap electronics, they do have the cheap stuff, like a USB drive or SD card. Those things you can find reasonably priced. They're not overly priced, but the more intense hardware, like computers, even phones, possibly could be marked up too high. Depending on where you buy it from. So, those are things that you want to think about. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head that I like immediately miss from the U.S. The roads, I guess, would be one factor. The Val City, the roads are pretty good, but when you go to certain areas, the roads may not all be paved, so their on-road experience might not be the funnest experience. Is that an electric fly? Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely have to have that. Oh yes, that's my electric swatter. Well, I'm not a big fan of insects. Especially mosquitoes. The mosquitoes here are gigantic, gigantic. I mean, now I say they big, they big, and I'm not trying to get bit by one of the things. So that zapper has. I done probably went through about 6 or 7 zappers easily, probably more than that because I don't be playing around. I'm not about to get bit by one of these big gigantic mosquitoes. So I'll smash that thing on a mosquito real fast. I don't care if it breaks, as long as it's dead. Because and also I'm trying to protect my son. They say that mosquitoes can cause like dengue. I wasn't even familiar with that until I got here. So I don't be playing around with the mosquitoes. I would kill them in a heartbeat. I don't play that. You're not about to bite me or my son. So I'll be going to work on them mosquitoes. But just get you a place that has a screen in the windows. If you rent a place here, try to find a place that has a screen. Hey son, don't drop that basketball, all right? Because my computer's there. I don't want him to drop that basketball on my computer. Yeah, and just for the zapper, it definitely serves an important role. When you're outside, sometimes the mosquitoes can get out of hand. It's not every day, but sometimes they can get out of hand. And for me, I would definitely recommend having that, as a tool to keep yourself from getting bit up if you're outside a lot, if you're going somewhere, where you're at, even at the beach, depending on what beach you're at, it could be a lot of mosquitoes there. So, that may be a useful tool for you. But in general, the insects aren't super horrible. I mean, when I go outside, as long as you're moving around, but if you're standing in one spot, they're probably gonna bother you possibly. Just standing. But if you're just walking around and stuff, you're not really gonna be worried about mosquitoes or any of that type of stuff. But if you're not used to insects, then the Val City may not be the place for you. Oh, you're welcome. No problem. I appreciate you coming to my live stream and checking out the information that I had to share. And I was happy to answer your questions. So if you ever want to come back to my live stream, definitely do it. And I'll try to bring you more information. Give me one moment. Hey son, you cannot do that. Okay, but you gotta bounce it over there. Go over there on that side, cause I don't want you to be by the computer. Yeah, I don't want him by the computer because, well, unfortunately, I have an unfortunate moment here. My computer, I'm using my old like 4 year, 5 year laptop. Speaking of electronics, because my new one that I bought, and it wasn't cheap. You know, my new one that I bought, I had it for like a little bit over a year, and the graphics card died on me. If you don't know what that means, don't worry. Just know that a very important part of the computer died on me, and so I had to revert back to my old computer, and I'm waiting for that to get repaired. So I'm trying to keep him from being by it because it's already damaged a little bit, my old computer, and I don't want him to break it even further than what it's already broken. So I'm trying to get that replaced, and maybe I'll do my live streams on that new computer if it has a decent camera like this iPad does. But I think most people have gotten their questions answered. I was supposed to leave a while ago, but I just want to see if I answer everybody's questions here. Oh, that's just a question to one of the other viewers, so that's not even related to me. But yeah, I look forward to doing my next live stream with y'all. We at like 94 minutes. Is there any more questions before I wrap this up? If there's not any more questions, you know, I'll wrap it up for you guys. Well, I would say this too. One of the things that I dislike about the Philippines, and this may be related to people who work online again, because I work through the internet, so this is why I'm bringing this type of conversation in. If you work online, one thing you definitely want to make sure that you do, if you want to work from wherever you stand, make sure that it's a quiet place. Because see, the problem I have here sometimes, the tricycles. If you're not familiar with tricycles, like a motorcycle that's attached to a side cabin thing that allows people to sit in there, it can be very loud. And if you're on a phone call with a client and you're trying to talk to them things will cut your sound off. You can't hear nothing but the sound of their vehicle going by. Jawbreaker know what I'm talking about. It's insanely loud, and it can. And you don't want that to happen when you're on a phone call with a big client. Like, it's frustrating because, and I'm speaking on this from personal experience. I don't want to be on a phone call with a client that's a big time client, and I have to explain to them, I'm sorry about the noise. Such and such vehicle went by. It can be a lot of distractions, and I don't want to disrupt a meeting like that. In fact, I got a meeting coming up on December 6th, so I got another meeting coming up. I'm hoping it won't be too loud. And unfortunately my noise cancellation headset is breaking on me, so I got to replace that. And you can hear like the dogs barking in the background right now. Little distractions like that can have a definite impact on your business. Peace out, Jawbreaker. You have a good one, man. I guess I'll see you here in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, and we'll meet up maybe in the mall if you see me again. But I think a lot of people are heading out now, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this stream up. And y'all have a nice. I think it's I don't even know what time it is. I can't see it on here on my. Let me see what time it is. Let me look on my phone here. Yeah, I think it's about it's AM time here right now. Well, y'all have a good morning. Yeah, it's later in the afternoon here, so I'm gonna have a good afternoon. And if you want me to come back and make more live streams and you have more questions, definitely let me know and I'll try to make some more live streams. Okay, son, I'm gonna take care of you right in like 2 minutes. I'm about to wrap this up. Okay? You gonna say bye bye? Okay, say bye bye. Say bye bye. Oh no, you're not gonna press the button though. Say bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, we gonna head out. No, you can't press that. You're not pressing it. I gotta press it. Okay?
What are you doing?
Yeah, we gonna hang up now.
I wanted to.
I have to hang up, son. It's the end of our live stream.
Okay.
End stream.